Why did Urban step down, Chris? What do you think here? What can you
I
tell
mean,
me?
it's surely health. I mean, we've talked about it. Urban just happens to be one of my close personal friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say I wasn't involved in the process, but I was one of the people a little over a month ago when him and Gene Smith, athletic director at OSU, started having conversations about what his overall health was, potentially moving forward, and what was going to be the best. So he did confide in me over a month ago that this was one of the three options that he was facing. The other two options weren't great options either. And so I know it took a lot out of him, his family, Shelly, the kids. Met with his wife this weekend before the Northwestern game. So I think there is a sense of relief because there is a danger every time he goes out there, every time that he is in full coaching mode, trying to encourage, trying to get a message across that he jeopardizes the potential of that cyst leaking. And when it does, he gets these massive headaches. In the Indiana game we saw where it made him double over. He was on one knee there, struggling to try to get his wits about himself. So that's not something any of his friends or family ever wanted to see again. So there was real dangers in him continuing to coach.
So then when he's doubled over in the Maryland game and it's a crucial moment in the game and everybody's huddling up a few yards away from the sideline trying to figure out what to do, and he's doubled over, not even in that huddle. That's what one of these episodes was, Chris?
Yeah, there were a couple. The Maryland, the Indiana. The Indiana was the most prominent because that's, I think, when people first, that was their first glimpse of him. And but that's the reality. When you have the cyst the size of a tennis ball, in your brain, that is his overall reality, and his overall reality as far as his body failing him, where he can't be on the sideline anymore.
So, Cris Carter, Hall of Famer, here on the Rich Eisen Show, one of the all-time Ohio State greats here from FS1 as well on the Rich Eisen Show. So, when his wife hugged him at the end of that Michigan game, the game against Michigan, it looked to me when I saw it like that looked like a family that knew that was their last day in the horseshoe. Did he know at that point in time, Chris?
I wouldn't say that he knew, but just getting through that game and not being a hindrance to the kids with the opportunity for some seniors to go 4-0 against Michigan, to be able to move on, potentially to be able to get into the playoffs, get into the Big Ten championship, all those things. But right there, you could see, you've been around sports long enough, Rich, that there was a lot of relief there. A guy that's won 3 national championships, he beats his rival Michigan to go 7-0 against them the last 7 years. But that wasn't just a hug about that. It was something deeper, and you're right, you sensed it, a sense of relief from that family. And what that Michigan game, Urban was worrying about being a distraction for the kids, a distraction for the university, and to be able to get through that and the way the kids played. The way the kids took to the coaching that week, that was what that hug and that embrace and those tears were about.
Well, and I've been around, as you said, sports long enough. I've also been around coaches long enough. They never, ever, ever get it out of their system. Never, ever, ever, with a capital EVER, get it out of their system.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think in a couple years he feels better, he's not feeling the pain from the cyst, or it does improve, that he does coach again?
No, I definitely think that was the last we'll see of him that would be in the Rose Bowl. I think that Urban, and we've just talked about other outlets that he can utilize his coaching, his leadership ability in other capacities. So we do believe like he does have an afterlife, after coaching. But you are right. I'm glad that he does have a medical condition compared to what we've seen, because there's nothing that replaces playing. There's nothing that replaces coaching, and that's why we've seen people teeter-totter, playing and are coaching. And you're right. If he didn't have that cyst or I didn't know the family, know the wife, like he's got real life issues as far as moving forward and what's the best way for him to be so that he can enjoy the rest of his life. Coaching won't be a part of it.
Last one on this subject then, Chris. Do you think that what happened with Zach Smith and the suspension in the 3 games played into just maybe the physical tiredness on top of his brain cyst to lead to this decision at all, Chris?
No, I don't think the Zach, because Urban took some heat for that, and rightfully so. I mean, when you run a program, man, the buck stops at the dude who's making the shot. So if it's right, if it's wrong, you're always going to get some heat when you don't know your assistants as intimately as you think you expect the head coach. So you're going to get some heat from that. But I know Urban. I know him well enough. And, Rich, I would tell you, and we had talked in the last year about Urban coaching another 4 or 5 years. Urban thought he had the program in the position that he can make a run, a couple more national championships. He talked about potentially 2 out of the next 4, potentially getting into the playoffs and having the opportunity to win. So with the type of talent they have, their quarterback's a sophomore. They got another good quarterback up under him, Tate Martell. If trust me, with this type of team out there, Urban would stay out there. That's the way you resolve the Zach Smith. You outlast it and you keep winning. So, no, I believe it did wear on him because his overall image and what people thought about him as a leader, it took a hit. But, no, it didn't lead to the cyst growing. It didn't lead to the cyst, rupturing and fluid being released into him. No, that part didn't. But it did. It did take a toll on Urban personally.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.